Did you know that the modern Benoni is also known as the son of sorrow? Well, in this video, we're going to see why that's the case, and I'll show you a very recent game from the Bangkok Open between the Australian Grandmaster Bobby Cheng against the Indian IM Ravi. And this game does feature a modern Benoni with black going for the move g6 and this kind of setup is black. Now, one problem with the Benoni is not just that the engine is giving +1 for white in the top lines, but also it's worth noting that with the way that Cheng played in this game with knight f3, it means that if black were to use a different move order, say rather than the move order in a game of c5 then e6, what some Benoni players will do is they will start with e6, saying that if you go knight c3 that they will play the Nimzo Indian against you, and sort of waiting for you to play moves such as knight f3 and only then playing the modern Benoni. And the argument of such players is, okay, after d6, knight c3, take, you're committed to knight f3, so you can't just kill me in the center. But it turns out white has some other good ideas, and in the game, Cheng plays a move bishop f4. One of the main trends of the last 10 years or so, and one of the main ideas of this move is that if black does just develop normally, queen a4 is a rather nettlesome check, where a lot of the ways they can block will hang the pawn on d6. And if bishop d7 to attack the queen, then queen b3 is threatening these two pawns at the same time, right? And if black were to defend them, for example, well, we can just go e4, knight d2, and we're getting ready to attack the d6 pawn with knight c4. And the rising position is just very nice for white. If I play a few moves, it'll give you a picture, a typical sort of position for this line with bishop e2. And I mean, white just has very nice development and still can go back and attack the weakness on d6 anyway. Black position might look active. There's not a lot he can really do around this point in reality. By the way, if you're enjoying this video so far, do make sure to sub to the channel. Probably the best line for black to play in this variation is the move b5, which is a pawn sack. But black does get some active compensation with bishop d6, queen b6, and after castles e3, admittedly, I don't think black is getting full compensation for the pawn. But okay, he can go b4, and I mean, at least he's getting a position to play in this case with some activity on the queen side. So from black's perspective, it's probably the best way to play. It's worth pointing out there are other problem lines that even if you solve bishop f4, the approach of going knight d2 and this sort of thing is also another very annoying line where white is just kind of building a solid center and making it very hard for black to get good counterplay either on the queen side or on the king side. But in the game, after bishop f4, Teja Ravi decided to play a6, threatening to move b5. So after a4, bishop g7. Well, we don't have queen a4 check anymore, but after h3, castles, and e3, it's just very hard for black to really get any sort of play going. As for what happens if they try to push the f pawn, we'll see that in the game. But if they do, let's say, try to play on the queen side, well, what you'll kind of notice is that we're just covering the b5 point very well with our pieces. If they do play rook b8 and sort of prepare knight c7, let's say if I make a couple of moves on the board, I mean, at some point, I can just play a move like a5 and just fix the black pawns in place to some extent. You're quite happy to see b5 because takes, and if knight takes b6, then the the a6 pawn is hanging. But if rook b6, knight c4, the knight is just an absolute beast on c4 in these kind of structures. You're ready even to potentially go knight a5 and jump into the c6 outpost. So really, this is just a complete strategic disaster for black. So if he can't really get the play he wants to on the queen side, this perhaps explains why the Indian IM went knight h5 and f5, even though technically it is a mistake. After bishop e2, f4, so black is trying to get the knight back into the game and potentially weaken the white structure a bit with an exchange on e3. But Cheng realized that actually, in a way, you kind of want them to take on e3 in this position because it opens up the diagonal for our bishop, and we get such a big lead in development because of the fact that, well, black spent these moves pushing the f pawn instead of developing the queen side. So the opening position is going to be quite nice for us. After queen 7, white played the move e4, which I think is a pretty good move. Fun puzzle for those of you who like to, share your thoughts in the comments. This one's going to be a bit of a challenge, but you might want to try and come up with the best move for white in this position. It's move 16 in case you're wondering. So yeah, let me know in the comments below what move you'll play, and well, I'll let you know which one of you sort of got it right in due course. I'll let you know at the end of the video. How does that sound? Okay, so after Queen E7, we had E4, Knight D7, Queen to D2. So white's just developing all the pieces, and yeah, it might look like black has the E5 outpost for the knight to blockade the pawn, but if black does take, what's going to happen is that black's just a bit too far behind development. Let's say if rook takes f4, rook takes f1, bishop takes e5. Well, I can basically cash in his chips here, playing something like bishop takes e5. You could take h5 first as well, I suppose, but after something like this, I mean, g takes h5 is just structurally so bad to open up the king like that. The problem is if you go queen h5 instead, white just moves the queen and is threatening queen f8 mate. And if you develop the bishop, then there's queen f7, forking the king and the bishop. So basically, black's not able to complete his setup, and he just really suffers from a lack of development here. So black goes b6, but b7 is such a bad square for the bishop in these Benoni structures, just biting on granite here. We go g4, knight f6, and finally after bishop c4, king h8, Cheng goes for basically what's known to be plan A for white in these modern Benoni pawn structures. For those who are wondering, plan B is b4, but okay, if you have plan A, who needs plan B? White goes e5, not just to trade the pawns and open up the lines for the rook and the bishop, but it also gives us a passed d pawn, which I know in Scotland they like to call Delroy. So after queen e8, bishop takes e5. Now this is a nice move actually. If they do take on e5, we can take with a knight and go knight f7, discovering an attack against the queen on e8. And if they go bishop takes f3, trying to remove the defender at a bishop, well then we can take first and then collect the harvest from there. As you can tell, I like drawing arrows, especially when we're winning. It's almost like rubbing salt in the opponent's wound. Like, it's not enough to be winning, you have to draw the arrows to show how you're winning as well. But after queen c8, we have takes. Takes maybe is not the best move, but it's still good enough. After knight e5, white is completely dominating with his piece in the center, and black's not able to get the battery. He needs to exploit the open position of white's king. b5, a little bit of a desperate measure, but bishop e6, a nice little reply. You could have taken the pawn as well, also totally fine, but the idea of bishop e6 is they can't really take it, because knight g6, and again, we're discovering attack on the queen. Go show how many times in chess just putting the rook opposite the queen just creates all these great tactical possibilities. After queen d8, g5, the game ended as follows. b4. If they move the knight, you just go like knight f7 and just win the exchange with a continuing attack. So b4, take, and another nice little tactic for white, knight g6. They can't take because queen h6 will be checkmate. So we had king g7, knight takes f8, and yeah, I mean, sure, always respect the bishops, but here white just wins in a very beautiful way. Of course, a normal defense is fine too, but queen d4, we get the style points after takes. Rook f7, now we hunt down the king. If they were to try to bring the king to g8, we can even just play like rook e7, king h8, rook h8, rook h7 is mate, but otherwise, yeah, you're giving mate like this. They can block with a bishop if they want to drag it out. And in the game after king h6, we had rook h7, king g5. White played to move h4. Technically, to move rook e5 is a slightly faster mate, but h4 also definitely good enough. After king f4, knight to g6, king to g3. If they do play king f3, you're going to have a rook f7 check, and then king g3, knight e2 is going to be mate. After king g3, white just reverses the move order, knight e2. Only one legal move for black, and after knight d4, it's going to be mates with king g3, rook e3. Let's put it on the board, king g3, rook e3, and yeah, very beautiful final position. So at this point, black just resigned after knight takes d4. So a fun little win, and with this you can see very clearly how to punish the Modern Benoni. If they try to play it the normal way, yeah, just the bishop's so strong on that h2, b8 diagonal, you're going to go push for the e5 break. If they try to go b5, just go a5 and kill their counterplay. We saw it often the knights is very nice on c4 in those structures as well, if they do play it more slowly. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Also, for those who were wondering what the solution to the little puzzle was I set, So after bishop h6, there's a really crazy move here in knight to e5 in this position. I know it's completely nuts, right? But the idea is if black takes the knight, we can go d6. And so this black queen just doesn't really have a good spot to go to. Like let's say if you go queen e6 and your white can take bishop takes f8 and bishop to g4, and you're skewering the queen and the bishop, and if they try to keep it all defended with something like queen e8, then you can just go queen to d5, and you're just kind of crashing through everything with a check. Like king h8, a nice move here is queen takes e5, where we lure that queen away from the defense, so that eventually we can just take their bishop on c8 and win the game from there. And as for any other moves, I mean, if they do try to put the queen on another square, like let's say to go queen to d8, for example, well, in that case, you can just go bishop takes, just remove the defender. And if they take back, then yeah, queen d5, and even though white is down a piece, we actually just have a crushing attack, where after bishop g7, one very fun line here is that after takes rook f1, like very much in Morphy style, we put all the pieces in the attack. And yeah, I mean, if you play queen e8 or something, white's just going to take queen g5, and there's no defense for black. The queen comes in, the knight comes in the attack as well, and yeah, this is just going to be GG very, very fast. Knight c6, queen h6, and finally it's time for black to resign, or get mated first, I suppose, if he doesn't resign. So yeah, that shows you a very fun little line. And by the way, if you do enjoy these sort of style of lessons with me, showing you different ideas for games and showing you how to basically outplay your opponents and improve as quickly as possible for your chess, then you're certainly welcome to book an application call with me. It's at absolutely no cost. And yeah, I'll put a link to that in the description below so you can do that as a little reward for those who made all the way to the end. All right, guys, I will see you in the next video. Until then, take care.